Hey, Max. How come you're not running?
First of all, could you please have those of you who can't worry about it, but please stand for O Canada. The flag is there if you wish to do this. O Please apologize. I apologize for coming back to you for a few minutes. I'm not up here for very long. Good evening. My name is Zenith Painter, and I'm president of the Cardston and District Chamber of Commerce. And on my written notes, I had still. So forget that. It's been a long time. Okay. On behalf of the Cardston District Chamber, I thank all of you for attending our 2013 Candidates Forum this evening. A couple of years ago, I attended a survey where we defined the thinking of the four groups of people in the world. Some of you have probably heard this before, some of you not. We have traditionalists, we have baby boomers, we have Generation X, and we have Generation Y. Tonight, we have a mix of those people in the audience. And please humor me, I want to just take a few minutes here. If you were born before 1925 and 1945, please stand, if you can. Raise your hand if you can. Okay, you're known to the world as our traditionalists. You've been around for a long time, you have a lot of knowledge, and you have a lot of ways that you think things should be done. Now, between 1946 and 1964, would you please stand? 1946 and 64, don't be shy. Okay? And you know who you are. You're the baby boomers. You're the ones who are getting blamed for why the world is the way it is today. How about between 1965 and 1980? Oh, we have a fair group. Okay, you are Generation X. Thank you. X starts a spot. Between 1981 and any time after that. 1981. Look at that, James Headline standing up. Now you're the ones that have to carry all of the rest of us forward for the rest of our lives, and it's like we're looking at, 70 years here. So according to the statistics, these four groups all think, all react, and all believe different. The candidates we have representing us tonight are from these walks of life. And here they are, willing to step forward, work together, and become our leaders. And I'd like to thank them for their courage. Could you just give them a round of applause? We also thank the Cardston High School for allowing us to use this facility. For some, it's not quite too practical with the bleachers, but it's pretty full on a basketball game, isn't it? Our moderator for the forum this evening is Michael Weeks. Mike is director on the Chamber, a new director on the Chamber of Commerce. Our timekeeper and organizer of the forum is Brent Cahoon. And I'll now turn my portion of the program over to Mike, and he will explain the rules and the format for this evening. Thank you.
All right, well, thanks for coming out, everybody. So to start off, we're going to let every candidate do an introduction. The mayors will be given 5 minutes each. We have a 30-second flag here for the mayors, red flag. Once you have 30 seconds remaining, you'll see the flag. I will be coming to take the mic after your time is up, so I'm the bad guy tonight. All the rest of the candidates for the town, as well as the school board, have 3 minutes each. And again, I will be coming after your time is up to get the mic. We do want to get everybody out of here on a timely fashion tonight. There's a lot of information we passed out, but we do want to get home before it's too late as well. So we'll start off here. I'll bring the mic over to Tim, and you will get 5 minutes. Keep an eye on Brent. He's going to be your timer. Whatever you want.
Because I'm half blind, I'll probably sit so I can see my notes better, if that's okay. If you prefer that I stand up, I'll be happy to do that as well, whichever works. Thank you for coming out. I want to congratulate the rest of the candidates for putting their name in the hat, so to speak. I'm sure in Alberta right now there's probably 100 little communities all sitting around with a forum going on, either this week or next week, trying to figure out what they're going to talk about and what's most important. And I'm sure most of the community is going to talk about economy. In Cardston for the last 60 years, we've been waiting for this miracle company to show up and provide 600 jobs. It's a pretty safe bet that's not going to happen because of our location. However, there is good economic news, as I was able to get a hold of a copy of Community Futures that they did a report on our town. So really, to come and promise 200 jobs isn't really feasible, but our town is growing. I talked to one of the businessmen here not that long ago, and he said if we could just grow our own businesses in town and maybe hire 1 or 2 people each year in those businesses, our town would grow by 60, 80, 100 jobs a year. Just a quick look at the summary of what we just picked up here not that long ago. In our town, there are, and I had no idea, and I should, because I've been on council for 2 terms, there are 182 businesses in town. It's pretty impressive for a small town. And 165 of those guys were interviewed for this survey, so it's going to be a pretty good survey. And what I found out is that actually things are going very, very well in our town. Over half the businesses here have been here for more than 20 years. 87% of people say they get a really good response just by word of mouth. And I always thought that things were going well, because if you go down Main Street on a Friday afternoon or on any summer day, it's a 2-light change getting down there. 45% of our businesses feel that their market share is increasing. And I'm trying to find the exact number here. A very high number felt that their future plans seem very positive, with a very likely response to most questions saying that they expect their businesses to grow. 62% of our businesses are looking at new positions over the next 5 years. So we're looking very, very good as a town. Also in the service industry, like police services, ambulance services, etc., 18 out of 20 people were satisfied or very satisfied. So I'm not here to try and invent the wheel tonight when it comes to the economy. I believe our economy is moving along quite well. I think previous councils have done their homework, and I think business owners are doing their homework. It's quite nice to go down Main Street and see all the new signage, see all the new business signs, all the new frontages to the buildings, and to me that just adds attraction to it. And for those of us that shop around, we know that the businesses here are very, very competitive. So as far as that goes, I think our business community is doing well. Our town is growing slowly. I don't think we want to go too fast. Also, I think there's some things we can focus on. Tourism is a big thing in this area, and I think we're just scratching the surface of it. We have very good neighbors to the north who very much contribute to our economy, and I really believe that we can work with the Blood Reserve and grow our tourism economy more. I know that people will come from far and wide to see a powwow, to see an Indian village or a native village. There's all kinds of possibilities if we would just work with them. We have people coming for our golf course, for our mini chucks, for our rodeos, for the temple. So our town is becoming a tourist destination. And I agree we're doing well, very strong. As a mayor, if I'm elected as mayor, I would continue with that trend and try to encourage people to come here and work with our businesses to foster even greater growth. Something else I would like to see in our community, I was just kind of wandering around town the other day, which I do sometimes. I retired a year ago, so sometimes I get a chance to wander. And I've noticed that in the last 5 or 10 years, we've had lots of people from different cultures come here. People from the Philippines, from Pakistan, from South Korea, the Balkan states, the South Pacific. Practically everywhere in the world, we've got people living in our community from all those places now. I feel strongly that if I'm elected as mayor, I'd like to see a much more inclusive community, where everybody in this community feels like they're part of a community. We have a strong community, we have a strong family-oriented community, but I think some people may not believe that they're quite as included. Anyhow, I see my time's running out very rapidly. I've got about 10 seconds. Just very quickly, I've lived in this community for over 25 years. I've loved living here. I've raised my family here. My wife works here. I think I understand small towns because I've lived in small towns my whole life. I would humbly ask for your support on October 21st. Thank you.
Okay, let's see if my voice carries. I'm Barbara Fox. I've been living in Cardston since 1998. That makes 15 years that we've been here. I moved to Cardston with 8 of my 9 children, and we moved here for a reason. We were looking for the safety of a small town, and we received it. Anybody asking me for a platform lately has seemed to want promises. As a candidate for mayor, it's impossible to make promises, and it's not feasible to make promises. What I can tell you is I'm honest, I'm straightforward, and I'm candid. Being honest, I have to say, not all is well in Zion. There are times that the backbiting and the gossip gets to be pretty bad around here, and I have to flat out say, I have never addressed a priesthood session, nor have I stood up in sacrament meeting and announced to the Lord they had better vote for me. So whoever's going with those gossip rumors can just stop it. I stand for courage, core traditional values. Cardston still holds the core of traditional values upon which it was founded. In a time when it was so easy, and it is so easy, to bend and disregard those values and to come into conformity with the world, to bring money into the area, I think it's time that we hold ever stronger to them. Outreach to our neighbors. Being a Main Street business, I have had my eyes opened since March. Our neighbors don't feel welcome. Many of them don't. They love us and they're trying to work with us, but many of them are hurt. We must erase the lines drawn between others, between the cultures, between our families, and between peoples as individuals. Our town must reach out. It is vital that we become one, that we become stronger with our neighbors. They are loving, kind people who really want to be part of the situation. Unrelenting vigilance. Unrelenting in guarding our rights and freedoms. Ever vigilant in discerning between laws that help and guide people and laws which infringe on property rights and on freedoms and limit our growth. Respect. Respect of all citizens and their views. Willing to listen to everyone and what they have to say. Respect of our pioneer roots. Respect for our seniors and their needs, and respect for our families. Action. I feel it is time that we come together as a community to take action, to become better people. We have a glorious future. This is a glorious town, and it is wonderful, and we can be the best people on the planet. Guidance. None of us know everything. Seeking guidance from those with expertise and examining it prayerfully, and then knowing how to enact sound counsel and fulfill the wants of our citizens is something that we need to do with council. No mayor acts alone. Only with council can you act. An eternal perspective. Many choices that we make have long-term consequences, and a lot of times people haven't looked all the way down the line to see what's going to happen at the end of it. We need to examine our actions and look forward to where they will lead us in the future and what kind of a people in town we need to be. It comes up to courage, and I'm asking our citizens to step up with courage, to become a better people, to become a strong community. A lot of people have said, what are you going to do? How are you going to make more jobs? We have lost the pioneer spirit. The pioneers never sat around and waited for government to give them a job. They never waited for a big company to come around and get a big job. They went out and they made their jobs. I think we have the pioneer spirit. I think we have a glorious future. I think we have a town that can come together and be a shining example of the future.
I, Maggie Cronin, have been living in Canada for the past 42 years, including 5 years as school administrator for the Department of National Defense in Belgium. I successfully ran for council in 2010 and led the polls with 768 votes. Thank you. I presently serve as a dedicated councillor. I worked very hard to contribute and to be a valuable and asset and influential voice. Mayor Scow has often publicly acknowledged my positive contribution in my civic duties. In his words, you want the job done, give it to Councillor Cronin. Besides my civic involvement, I and my husband, Don, continue to serve our community as volunteers for the Hospital Auxiliary Association. As councillor, I still have found the time to serve a 3-year term as treasurer for this organization. As an auxiliary, I continue to offer my services in the long-term care recreation program, and with Don actively participate in fundraising activities. Also, we volunteer with the Meals on Wheels program, and in the recent past, in immunization clinics and community awareness. My proven record speaks of a dedicated and trustworthy councillor. I'm known for my keen interest in community affairs and of having a listening ear and strong work ethics. That's for my bio. Well, all have different views to make Cardston a better place to live in, ranging from affordable property taxes and better recreation facilities to better tourism industries. As mayor, my goal will be to take into consideration the needs of every segment of the population, from young to golden age, and yet to carefully safeguard our taxpayers' money. We need to work in partnership with the county, with private and government entities. In the near future, all citizens of this town will have the privilege to fill a municipal planning survey. Once compiled and analyzed, the results will indicate which type of town Cardston wants to be. This will guide our economic and infrastructure development plan for the next 10 years. Please take it seriously. It will shape your future. We must continue to seek creative and sustainable fiscal solutions that will fit our demographic makeup. Here's what I propose on a short term. I will continue to seek the limited use of in-camera sessions. This builds trust. I believe in open communication. It is essential to good governance, and I will encourage citizens to come to councils and see how we work. I will continue to support the present governance model. It's been productive to our council, with the first meeting of the month as a planning work meeting. I was instrumental for this change, and it helped us govern more efficiently. I will seek creative and fiscally responsible solutions to issues facing our community. I will seek approval through plebiscite for large and costly projects that may come along, and for sensitive social and health issues, such as fluoride. I will seek to strengthen our relationships with the county and blood tribe to find fair solutions. On the long term, and to improve our tax bases, I will continue to work hard, exploring innovative solutions to increase revenues where possible, without adding to the tax burdens such as cost sharing of administrative services with neighboring communities. Continued support for our utilities to be operated on a cost recovery model and no longer be subsidized by your tax dollars. This will, in time, help decrease the mill rates. Collecting revenues stipulated in the listing of the golf course, an annual review of our town contracts. Seek to reduce expenses by cost sharing of services, material, goods, equipment with the county to avoid duplication and reduce costs. We need to work with the county on all economic issues. Councillor Court really explained what we have done in the past 6 years. I won't repeat. We need to work on sustainable economy for this town and for the tourism industry. We have great assets in this town. In order for me to contribute to this as your mayor, I ask for your vote this night for me, Maggie.
For those of you who are just joining us, just a quick recap, we have our 3 candidates for mayors here this year. We have our 10 for town council and then the 4 for the school division. And the mayors just had 5 minutes each to address their platforms. The town councillors and the treasury board, will each get 3 minutes each. So we'll continue on with what we went. If you guys just want to pass the mic down the line when you're done, watch Brent for your time. Again, if you run over, I will come and get the mic. And then after you're done your platforms, we do have a series of questions which will be addressed so we can get into the meat and potatoes here. So without further ado, Mr. Barfus, you can start us out. Thanks.
I'm going to stand so that when I run out of time, I can race away from Mike a little easier. You know, we've been really fortunate here in Cardston for a long time. We've had some great councils that have been basically pretty financially responsible with the way they spend money. And we've benefited from that, and that Cardston is in a much better position than a lot of other towns the same size as ours. But we do have some problems that are here in Cardston. And one of the biggest problems I see actually is with our employment issue. We talk about how for the years and years and years, we've been sending our youth around the world, that our greatest export is our youth. One of the concerns I have right now is that when I'm looking around at church and to the people that I know around town, I'm seeing a lot of our fathers aren't working here in Cardston anymore. Our fathers are working out of town. I was one of them. And I saw the damage that it did to my family. And I'm really frightened that we're going to see down the road more and more of our fathers not here to look after our kids. And we're not going to be exporting our greatest asset, our youth, to the rest of the world anymore. We're going to be in a position where our families aren't as strong as what we've talked about with great families and strong family values. So what my emphasis is, and where my platform basically comes down to, is I want to see us looking for that economic engine where we can bring more jobs into town, where our fathers aren't having to go to Fort McMurray, aren't having to go out to the past looking for work so they can make enough money to support their family. I believe that most of these fathers that are doing this aren't making a choice of going to Fort McMurray to make the big money. They're going there to make a living. And if they had an opportunity to stay here in town, to enjoy the benefits of being in Cardston has, that they would stay with those. So over the last little while, I've been working on the Economic Development Board, and in conjunction with Andy Olson specifically, we've come up with some different ideas that I'd be happy to talk about in more detail a little later, where we're working on some ideas to bring some industry into town. We've started to see a lot of really good things here recently. I don't know if any of you are familiar with what's been happening with Southern Virginia University. Long-term, that could be a really, really big benefit for our town, and it doesn't require us changing who we are as a community. Those are the kinds of solutions that I want to be looking for. I want to be thinking outside of the box so that we're not trapped in trying to find the next, newest, greatest business that's going to... I can run fast. So we're not trying to find another business that's going to change who we are. And we don't need to worry about some of the issues that have been coming up lately as far as affecting our values of who Cardston is and what we stand for here. So on October 21st, I would ask for your vote for council. Thank you.
Dennis Barnes is my name. I've lived in Cardston for just over 40 years. I came here from Southern Ontario. I had no work. I didn't know anybody here. I decided that I was going to get to know people, and I feel like I've gained a great family of wonderful people here in Cardston. I love Cardston. I've learned that because of some of the economic situations here that I've had to work for myself. So for the past 30 plus years, I've worked for myself. I have a very strong entrepreneurial spirit. I know what it takes to create work. And I'm prepared to share that. If I'm on council to work with the Economic Development Committee, I will share my expertise. I owned the LDS bookstore. I had a grocery store here in town. I had a home renovation business for many years until my shoulders got wrecked and I had to have surgery. And I also worked for 9 years part-time as a newspaper reporter and reported for the Cardston Chronicle at Town Council for many years. I've been a real estate broker for the past 18 years with Realty Executives, and I understand what it takes to bring in people to start businesses. I've talked to lots of people. I have a couple of diplomas, one in construction technology and one in public relations and advertising. Graduated with high honors in both my programs. Attended the University of Lethbridge for the social studies program. I was the public relations director for the Carriage House Theater. I've been involved in many of the plays. I am a community person. I've had a lot of volunteer experience. I worked as on the security committee for in charge of arranging the security for the Temple Open House and the rededication program. I've been a sergeant at arms for the Banff Western Connection Real Estate Convention 4 times, helping serve over 700 realtors and helping to police them and make sure they're going to the right places. I've been serving on the library board for the past 14 years. I've been vice chairman for approximately 8 of those years and secretary for the past 7 years as well, carrying 2 hats. I believe that it's important to give volunteer service. And I know that I feel like with my public service, I am qualified to serve on council. With my business experience, I know I can help to make this a great place, continue to have a great place. And I ask you to vote for me on October 21st as one of the 6 town councilors. Thank you.
As the name states, I'm Richard Bangry. I must be the young one on this road because I've been here almost 64 years. I was born and raised here. I raised 3 children here. And they loved this community as well as I did. In the summer times, they played ball. They went swimming. They went fishing. They played with their friends. In the wintertime, they went skating. They did all sorts of wonderful things. They were raised wholesome kids. But I want to thank you as citizens of Cardston and the surrounding area for being here tonight. I want to thank these candidates for putting themselves out in front. This is called community, is when you're working for the community. Like I said, I've been here 64 years. I've helped to establish a bunch of programs in Cardston. In the last probably 45 years, I worked with 2 other great men. We established the Channel 32, the local television channel. And that was a big accomplishment The amount of trips that we made to Edmonton, 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, come home and be let down. I was on the organization committee for the adult literacy program. We felt that this was very, very important to our community, and it is still going today strong. I organized the COP program, which is a Citizens on Patrol program. We are a volunteer program, which are eyes and ears for the RCMP. And as volunteers, we drive around in the community and make sure that the doors are locked and people are having a good time in our community. I've also single-handedly designed and brought the recycling program to Cardston. It is still going today. It was a real hardship to get this thing going because the cost of newsprint and things like that were very low at the time. But it's a rewarding program now. So I can tell you that my heart and my interest and my love are for this community. I love the community. It's a strong community. We have a lot of things going for us. We have some opponents, but at the same token, what goes on in the Cardston affects the county, and what affects the county affects Cardston. We have to work hand in glove. Thank you. On October 16th, the advance polls, I asked for your candidate, and on election day of October 21st, I also asked for your support. Thank you very much.
I'm Alan Bryant. No, my ancestors didn't come across the plains, but I spent a lot of my time actually in Central and South America. I was recruited by a Bank of Montreal, went down there, learned the language, assimilated with the people, so I dealt with a lot of people in various cultures. I'm now fluent in Spanish. Now during, I think 1972, we had a little bit of an earthquake in Managua, and 10,000 people died in 32 seconds. It was quite a disaster. I have been asked, along with 2 others, to form a bank by the general president of the country. We had, and our bank that we were going to open was demolished in the quake. And so we came up with a quick fix design, got involved, built the open bank. And the feasibility study said it would take about 2 to 3 years to start turning at a profit. In 3 months, we had it going in a profit-making position, and it remained that way. So the general looked at me, he said, look, he says, I want you to go over, I want you to take over 5 companies in the fishing industry and get them on a paying basis, which I did as well. Now, I left Nicaragua, things were getting a little bit too hot. After I left, he was assassinated. And so that was that job down the tube. While there, during the earthquake, I had a ham radio station. U.S. Army came in to help at a hospital. And lo and behold, they had left in such a hurry from Fort Hood, Texas, they left their radio behind. And I had no power, but I had the radio, so they got the generator over. And within 20 minutes, the very next day after the earthquake, we were communicating with the rest of the world from my ham radio station. And that's where I spent an awful lot of my time. I went to Australia, and down there I formed my own private investigation firm doing corporate fraud and things of that nature. And I dealt also a lot in local politics, helping the community and nature, things of that. And there were a lot of Aboriginals there. And they have very classical problems like we have north of here. And I worked very strongly with the elders in the community. So I feel with this experience that I have, I could add an awful lot to council. So remember my name on October 21st. Thank you.
I'm Bill Creed. I love this community. I've lived here all my life. And I'm grateful for the opportunity I've had to serve on council for the last 30 years. I've learned a lot, and I've learned that on town council, you're only one person, and you can't make a lot of promises because your effectiveness really depends on whether other people have shared the same values that you do, and not only the people on council, but the people in the community. So I just want to simply state some of the values and interests that I have, and hope that you will share some of those values. I'm just going to read them from my brochure. I want to support family values in our community. I want to encourage a spirit of cooperation and volunteerism in our community. I want to continue to improve relations with the county and with the blood band to the north of us. I want to continue to support fiscal responsibility in our local government. I want to work for openness and transparency. I'd like to seek better communications with our town residents. And also promote more citizen involvement in our government. We need volunteer, that goes along with volunteering. I want to promote responsible freedom in our community. And I want to work to preserve and enhance the heritage that we enjoy here. I want to listen, be accessible to listen to you, to represent if you have issues with the town, to be able to take those issues to the council and look for win-win situations and try to help us be more one in our community, to work together in a cooperative effort. And I hope you share some of those values, and I'll work for you.
Dexter Durfee, and I'm proud to be running for a council position in Cardston. I've been here nearly all of my life. My family came here in 1970, and since then I've lived here except for attending university and serving an LDS mission. For the past 22 years, I've worked in local government in this area. The first 4 years of that career with the Cardston County as an accountant, and the past 18 years I've been employed by Westland School Division number 74. In that role, my responsibilities include overseeing financial operations, facilities, transportation services, and technology. My formal education is in accounting, and I also have a master's degree in organizational leadership. I'm proud to say that Westland School Division, in my overseeing of the financials, we have a $45 million operating budget annually, and I'm proud to say that Westland School Division is known for a division that lives within its financial means, while at the same time being seen as a leader in innovation throughout the province. One of the strengths that I have had is the ability to procure school building projects. In the last 10 years, we've successfully lobbied government to modernize 5 of our schools. One is this school, the Cardston High School, and one of the other projects is currently underway. I'm sure many of you have seen it at the Cardston Elementary School. I'm a firm believer in and have shown the fruits of leveraging fiscal resources to gain access to both provincial and federal assistance to enhance public facilities within our community. While Cardston has many great facilities, I believe we can still enhance what we have in our community and make them even more appealing so that our residents have a chance to enjoy recreational and cultural activities without traveling outside of the community. I also am an avid volunteer. I currently sit as the president for the Association of School Business Officials of Alberta. I am a sitting member of the board of the Westwind Rodeo Academy, and as a co-founder, we were able to raise over $3 million in private donations and government grants to develop a rodeo facility for youth, as well as a therapy program that provides the opportunity for over 300 children a year with special needs to attend and receive therapy. I was one of the co-founders of the Blue and White Club. The Blue and White Club, when it was founded to aid in the expansion of the gymnasium here, and also to provide the Blue and White Fitness Center. I believe that my experience and my employment history have provided me the opportunity to learn well and to serve the community of Cardston, so I would ask for your vote on October 21st. Thank you.
Over 20 years ago, I moved my family to Cardston to find a better place to raise children in a safer community and to be part of it. Immediately upon arrival, I began to volunteer at the Cardston Community Theater and have basically been there since. Served on the board of directors for 6 years. For 20 years, I've been a member of Citizens on Patrol in cooperation with the RCMP, and there served as Secretary-Treasurer for that entire time. I've been a member of Boy Scouts of Canada for over 30 years, as well as a block parent for 30. I love history, so 3 years ago I walked into a meeting in the Courthouse Museum and walked out Vice President. No, just kidding. I'm an area coordinator for CERT, served a mission in New York, been there. I've been with my employer now 30 years. This year I found my newest love, that of coaching soccer. As I've been knocking on doors, people have asked me, why am I running for town council? Well, the answer is obvious. I'm not busy enough. But I feel it's my time to stand up and do what is right, do my part to promote Cardston as the beautiful community it is, to provide an amazing quality of life. I'm running because I'm concerned about the direction town is headed. The basic character and values of our community are under siege, and the citizens' voices are not always being heard. Further to this, our tax base is upside down. To fix it, council must push towards being more business-friendly, encourage business and investment in our community. There will require a well-rounded economic plan, giving specific direction to planning committees to build a long-term plan for potential investors to rely on. This is a critical time for our town. I will continue my community involvement by working on council to make common sense decisions, to make a plan that looks much further in the future than just from budget year to budget year, a plan to make our area strong and vibrant. We'll need to advance our quality of life for all of our residents by promoting and marketing our town assets. We currently have great recreation facilities, theater second to none, renovated schools, upgraded parks, the list goes on and on. This many people are looking for, and we need to get the word out. Finally, as a homeowner, I know the burden of property taxes. We need to work hard to keep them as affordable as possible without impacting our quality of life. Cardston, for the most part, is a senior community, and with fixed incomes, it cannot be decimated by higher and higher taxes. In fact, I would like to look at freezing property taxes for seniors 75 years of age and older. Further to this, find ways to widen our tax base to mitigate the difference. We also have many young families that also need to find affordable housing. With my leadership background, together working with you, we can continue to make our cherished quality of life, to find creative solutions, and even make it better tomorrow on October 21st. Please vote Mark Eastwood. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dave Edmonds. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the Chamber of Commerce for raising this candidates forum. I'm seeking re-election in the Town Council, and I'm looking at things from a different point of view. The town is in good shape financially. This is due to the excellent staff we have in the town office, and they deserve a vote of thanks. The past 3 years have been both challenging and rewarding, as we as a council have had to make some difficult decisions. The main question in the last election was what kind of a swimming pool could we afford? After much studying and examining the logistics, it was decided that we couldn't afford a covered pool. We then looked at many different designs, and it wasn't until this year that a contract was awarded to Acapulco Pools, and that is in the process of being built right now. We also had to decide whether or not we wanted to sell the transmission system to Fortis, Alberta. This would have given the town a nice nest egg, but then there would be arguments about how we would spend these funds. This year there doesn't seem to be a common question from the people as I've been around going house to house. We have an aging infrastructure, and many of these need to be either replaced or upgraded. We need to start putting money away to cover these costs in the future. The facilities we have right now were paid for by your fathers and grandfathers. That's how old they are. The sooner we can replace or upgrade some of this infrastructure, the cheaper it will be. The dollar that you have today will buy far less in the year 2030. Some changes to the water and sewer system are mandated by the provincial government and can be partially paid for by provincial grants. Provincial grants aren't as numerous as they used to be, and they are harder to obtain. This is where having an excellent office staff comes in and to apply for these grants. It's a long process to get a grant. We have tried to limit your taxes, but we can't control everything. If the assessment on your house and property goes up, even though we maintain a steady mill rate, your costs will go up. We are presently working on 3-year budgets, but periodically the government follows us up like they did last year. We had our budget all set, and then they dumped a tax for the schools in a great abundance to us. I'm looking forward to serving you over the next 4 years, and I'm asking for you to get out and vote. Not necessarily for me, but at least get out and vote. If you don't vote, you don't have the right to complain. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Marcia Nakridge, and I'm the only female running for town council this term. I have a varied background. I've owned my own businesses for 38 years successfully. So I've been an employer, I'm a mother and a grandmother. I've had wonderful opportunities to work with people that have inspired and motivated me to become a better individual. Most recently, before moving to Calgary, I was Vice President and President of the NL Tanner Businessmen's Association, which is under the Marriott School of Business at BYU. And in this capacity, I've had the opportunity to be mentored by such wonderful men and inspirational as President Walker and Stephen R. Covey. I went to the LDS Business College, and I learned much more there. I've had opportunities to travel abroad and live in other countries, and always I've had an eye to see how much we have here in this country, how wonderful the opportunities they are. Our children here in Cardston have opportunities that even in the larger cities aren't available in all communities. When I think of all of the facilities and the programs for our youth, I'm grateful that I was able to bring my 3 children here as they started junior high. And the school systems here are second to none. After moving here, all 3 of my children's grades moved up 30% across the board in all subjects. And I believe that's a large extent to the family values that are prevalent here in this community. I'm grateful for each and every one of you for coming here tonight. And I hope that as you get to know me and I have an opportunity to be of service to you, that you'll be thankful for your giving me your vote. I'm the type of person that I set goals, and if I'm asked to find out a problem or to solve a problem, I research it, I gather all the information I can, and then I set a goal and I work towards it. My family will tell you, and my friends, that I'm like a little pit bull when I get my teeth into something. I have to see it through. And I know that I can bring this ability to a position and your town council, and I hope that you will give me your vote on October the 21st. Thank you.
My name is Bill Peevoy, and I went to school down in a small liberal arts classical school, George Wythe College. It's now a university, good for them, they're growing. And I studied in 2 different fields. I studied entrepreneurial business, and I studied political statesmanship. And when I finally met and married my wife after graduating, I went and taught history in junior high, 12 and 13-year-olds. I have a passion for inspiring youth, and I wanted to teach them the principles of good government. Unfortunately, that didn't pay very well. My wife started thinking, hey, if we're going to have 12 kids, we better do something different. So we decided to branch out and give that entrepreneurial business degree a try. And since then, I've worked with many, many businesses in just kind of helping them according to what I learned in school. And one of the things we studied and learned in school is that a business is either growing or dying. And the big difference that determines whether they're growing or not is whether or not they have a vision of what they want to look like when they're done. You know, there's a target to move toward, an actual vision that they have of the future that they're working towards. And I have been able to sit down with many business owners, talk about that vision, turn some things around for them, and it's been wonderful. Since moving to Cardston, I currently work for the South Country Inn on Main Street, and not a day goes by, well, not a day, not a week goes by, maybe many of you would be surprised to learn this, that someone doesn't come check into that hotel because of something they heard about this town. And the story's always the same. It's always the dad, and he's always alone. And he says, I've come to Cardston to see if I can move my family here. And I hear this story again and again, and it's exactly my story. See, I didn't live in Cardston. I lived down in Nevada. And my wife and I were talking about, where's the best place to raise our kids? Where's the best place with the family-friendly environment that we can go and make a go of it? And it was Cardston that we picked. And it's been a good ride. But unfortunately, I don't think some of the people in Cardston really realize what you have here. It's magical. It needs to be preserved. And Cardston needs to be ready because there are thousands of people that are looking for what you guys have. And I think that we can preserve it. Thank you.
I care about kids, and I believe that when we strengthen students, we strengthen families. When we strengthen families, we strengthen our community. I believe that because of my experience as a parent with children in all of the schools in Cardston, I not only understand the challenges that occur at every grade level, I am invested in helping to seek and provide solutions to those challenges. I believe that I have a unique perspective for not only students, but also for teachers, as I received my education degree from the University of Alberta. I want our students leaving the education system here with everything they need to succeed. Wherever they choose to go, whatever they choose to do, I want them to feel ready and not afraid to become tomorrow's responsible citizens. When our capable, strong, determined students leave our community to find their own way, they strengthen their communities, and the great cycle that was started here continues wherever they go. I believe that as we educate and as we work together, we all strive higher and achieve greater success. I look forward to being a part of our school board that helps make that happen. I want your concerns to be heard. I want you to know who to talk to. I want you to know that I will continue to work hard for you. When my children started school, I quickly became involved in the elementary school council. I volunteered in my children's classrooms, talked to other parents, and went to monthly meetings where we shared concerns and ideas. For the last 4 years, I have been serving as the school council chairperson at the elementary school because I am passionate about kids having success. 6 years ago, I took on my own great challenge, my health. I began eating healthier and exercising regularly. Day by day, I made little changes, and 2 years later, I had lost my goal of 120 pounds. At this point in my life, I became quite passionate about children's health. Because of this new direction in my life, I had this idea to start the Cardston Kids Marathon. But unlike other marathons, I wanted this one to include not only students, but also parents, siblings, grandparents, teachers, friends, and neighbors. This was for everyone. I wanted to provide an opportunity for everyone to run or walk a marathon 1 mile at a time, and then finish and celebrate with 2,200 of their closest friends. The 2,200 part, I never imagined, but that's what it has become. We celebrate success. So why should you vote for me? Because I believe in you, because I hear you, because I want to see success for all students, all teachers, and all families. Thank you.
I'm Blaine Hogg, And I've been a fan of Cardston since 1965 when my parents brought me to live here. My wife and I have raised our family here, and I've just loved the community and have taken the opportunity to serve in the community as often as I can. In the past, I served 2 terms on town council. I've been on recreation boards, had the opportunity to be chairman of the Provincial Special Olympics that we hosted here in 1987. I just have always enjoyed serving the community. Having recently retired from a career in education, I worked for 36 years for Westwind School Division. I got thinking, what can I do to sort of keep contributing? And school board didn't really enter my mind until one of the school board members said, you know what, you ought to run for school board. And that just kept tweaking in my mind. And I thought about the advantages for me and for the community. Working as an employee of the school board, I've had an opportunity to see what schools do, what they accomplish, what goes on in schools. The last 5 years as Director of Student Services, I've been able to work in the school board office with the school board. And I learned to recognize the function that a school board has in advocating for our community in a regional and a provincial way. I believe that my experience working in the schools and working on provincial committees will give me the opportunity to share that expertise with our local school board. One of the big jobs school boards has is advocating for the community at a provincial level. Schools are governed by legislation, and school boards are a voice that can talk to the province in forming that legislation. Now the other side of it, school boards are also people that you go to as parents and teachers advocate for the children. Both of those roles are very important for a school board member, and I believe that I have the experience to carry that out. I think we have a wonderful school division. We hear people all the time coming to Cardston because of our schools. But I appreciated what Mr. Pivoy said, if you're not moving ahead, you're moving backwards. So I really support moving ahead and improving our school division. And I offer my experience and my services on October 21st. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Denise Norton, and I've had my children and now my grandchildren are going through the Westwind School Division schools. I want you to know that I am passionate about students feeling successful. I'm a social worker, and I spent 25 years as a counsellor assisting those who have barriers to gaining employment, who've lost sight of their potential. One of the common denominators I found as I worked with these people is lack of formal education. And right now, as of today, 42% of adult Canadians over the age of 16 are struggling with basic literacy skills. Recently, a 3-year study indicated that while the majority are doing great, there's a large percentage of Westwind kindergarten children experiencing difficulty or great difficulty in such areas as communication skills and general knowledge. We need to address these issues. We can't ignore the strong connection between early childhood development and lifelong learning. Over the past 3 years, 80% of all Cardston High School graduates, high school students graduated. That's great and congratulations, but you know what? I worry about the 20% who failed to graduate. There's an average of 125 students, grade 12 students enrolled each year, which works out to 25 students each year who failed to graduate. These are people with lives and hopes and dreams and families. And unless they know how to reach out to Heather Schmidtke at the alternate school, then they will just disappear into the woodwork. I've always been and always will be a champion of the underdog, the bullied child, the child who struggles, go unnoticed, whether grade 1 or grade 12. Over the past 3 years, I had the privilege of teaching for 10 weeks students who had barriers to gaining employment. After the end of the classroom, they all graduated, and 85% are still employed, fully employed, or are pursuing further education. That's what I want to see in our schools, is them to feel successful. So there's no children who cry themselves to sleep, or we know about the children who cry themselves to sleep because they're bullied, or fret because they don't understand a math concept. So that each year, 25 high school students will quietly disappear. It's time for a change. It's time for common sense. It's time for a new voice. Because after all, every school board needs a vision and a heart, and every child deserves a champion. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Ken Peterson. I feel like I'm just going to go and give a report to the school board, and they've already heard 12 other reports, so I kind of feel that. I was raised in Sterling. I was raised on a family farm, and I think being raised on a farm is where I learned my work ethics. To get up and get to work when you have a job and you get it done. I tell you, I was at the top of my class, but I see one of my former teachers here, Dwayne Hall, so I can't really tell him that. I also have some of my former students here, so I have to make sure that I stay on track. My first year of teaching, I was in the Sterling School, and I went in with a young man and with all these hopes, and found a lot of challenges in the classroom. And I always had the goal I have was to put students first. After my first year of teaching, it was like a big haze. And so at the end of the school year, I was cleaning off my desk and I found a note from one of my students. He was a tall, gangly boy. He was about my size. I'm not that tall, but he was only in grade 6. And he says, "Thanks, Mr. Peterson, for helping me pass grade 6. And I feel a lot better about myself." And so that really made a defining point in my career of how students feel about themselves and putting students first. I taught school in Sterling for 22 years, and in '94 I applied for the position of principal at Mountain View. I have some of my former parents here and grandparents who had children in Mountain View School. And I always had the goal to put students first, to do whatever it took to make students succeed. During my time at Mountain View, I coached basketball, volleyball, badminton, coached minor hockey, not in the school, but in the community. And so I always tried to do my best. One of the things when I went to Mountain View, the first phone call I ever made was to the parent council, and asked the parent council for their support and their input. And one of the things that we started was a welcome back to school breakfast, which is still going on today, and I think that makes 20 years since they've had that tradition. One of the things that I bring to the table is that I'm a team player, that I'm able to collaborate and work with others. I have a vision of where I want to go, and we need to do our best to prepare our students for the 21st century, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes. Thank you.
How's the volume? Everybody hearing everything okay? No issues? Yeah? Everybody got a couple thumbs up? Awesome. So big thanks out to the candidates, guys, for what they've prepared. What we're going to do now is we have a series of questions which each candidate has prepared for themselves. So I have the question at the bench, and they have whatever they have prepared to answer with. We'll start off with the school board, and I'll just leave the mic here. I've got a mic at the table, so I'll read the question out so everybody can hear it, and then they can answer it, and then we'll just pass the mic down. And then after we're done with the school board, we'll move on over to the town councilors, and then we'll go to the mayors, and then after that, we'll open it up a little bit. So they have 2 minutes to answer each question. Again, the flag will come up after 30-second warning, and if you go over, I'll come steal the mic from you. So I'll leave the mic here with Ken, and then I'm just going to go over to the table, and we'll start off with our question and answer period. All right, everybody hear me down here? Okay. Sorry, I'm going to be rude and have my back to you, but I've got all our papers here down here. So we're going to start out with Ken, and Ken, your question is, what qualifications do I have to make a great choice for a school board trustee?
Okay, that's just like calling a timeout and then you don't keep the team time to rest. So here I am again. So one of the things that I have, I think will make me a good candidate is my experience being taught, teaching school for 40 years. When I finished teaching 40 years, you know, I got pins for 5, 10, and 35. When I reached 40 years, I said, hey, where's my pin? They said, hey, no one teaches that long, you don't have one. So we need to look into that. But I think one of my strengths is to look at an overall vision. You know, I've had experience in Sterling School and Mountain View School. My children have attended Cardston schools. And I really feel the importance of parents being involved in school. We need to have accountability in our schools, and parents need to have some input. Students need to have some input as well. As principal, I always had the student council come and meet with me as well. And I tell students, you don't have to be in trouble to come and see me. Although some did come and see me, weren't, no, I'm kidding. That you come and communicate. So communication, I think, is one of the keys that I have, and to be able to be a team player and to cooperate with the rest of the board. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Ben. So moving on to Denise, her question is, how would your past experience benefit the school board?
Okay, thank you. My past experience as a parent, my current experience as grandparent, I think really, really disqualify me to be an outstanding member of the school board. However, you've just heard me talk about my 25 years experience helping people with career choices and reaching goals, understanding their hopes and dreams, and often attaining them. And I think that will be of an asset to the school board as I work with, as we work to help young people within the school system. I have a strange variety of skills, but I think together they will really benefit the school board. For example, I have developed curriculum for workshops, and some of which is still being used worldwide. I'm a workshop facilitator. I'm not a teacher by education, but I love to teach. I'm a published writer in magazines, books, and both locally and internationally. And I've currently been assigned under a University of Alberta initiative to promote conversations regarding healthy childhood development in 7 communities across southern Alberta. I feel that my communication skills, both orally and writing and verbally through written word, will be of great benefit to the Cardston School Board. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. So, Blaine, your question is, why is a local school board important?
This may seem an odd question, but throughout the province, the question is being asked. The Department of Education and provincial government have taken back many of the things that school boards used to do, such as raising revenue. The province simply informs the school board each year, this is how much money you have to work with. So people say, well, if they can't raise money, why do we need a school board? What does a school board do any longer? The main thing that a school board can do for a community is to advocate and work with the province. They are the voice that the province listens to. Parents and teachers don't have that input that they can really speak with a collective voice. So the school board is an important voice. Many of you remember years ago there were hundreds of school boards in the province, and then they regionalized and brought them down to a smaller number. Right now the government isn't saying that they're going to make that an even smaller number, but that's something that is on the minds of many people. My experience in the last few years working with members of the provincial government, I think would help our board advocate for proper legislation that will protect our community, that will protect our schools and allow us to have a say in how our children are educated. So a school board is a very important asset to have, and I believe that my experience will help that school board do that job. Thank you.
Thank you, Blaine. So Patricia, the question you have for us is, what do you think can be done to improve parental involvement in the schools?
First of all, parental involvement in the schools is essential for our students' success. And what I have found as I've been working in the schools is that if there is a real need for parents, the parents are there. But when we just need them to have bake sales and fundraise, they really don't care that much about that. Our parents care about the success of our kids, of their own children, and they're willing to come and help at the school if it helps their students succeed.
Thank you, Patricia. So, Bill, the question you have here is, you talk about limited government, but how do you keep government limited?
I had a lot of people come to me since they found out I was running for council and talk about, well, how are we going to do this, and how are we going to fix that, and what are we going to do, and I keep shaking my head. I'm like, you know, none of those concerns have anything to do with what your town council is responsible for. There is a huge problem where everybody seems to be running to the government for solutions that should be kept, you know, in the community. And I said, you know, the number one thing we can do is promote and encourage entrepreneurship in the free sector, in the private sector, and also the volunteer spirit of this town. I mean, this town has some of the best volunteer spirit I've ever seen. And sometimes if you just hand it back to the people and say, you know what, hey, the government isn't responsible for this. You don't want us to be responsible for this. This is something you guys are going to have to step up, lead out, volunteer, find the need, start a business. Keep it out of the hands of government. Keep it private.
Thank you, Bill. So, Marcia, the question that you have is, what can I offer to the position of town council member?
I think with my background, I've had many opportunities in business and in the private sector. I've had a pretty extensive portfolio in volunteerism in the Scouts program and other businesses and in the school systems. I think that as a woman, I have a different perspective on a lot of issues than men do. I think that often this can be a plus in that the way a woman might approach the resolution of a problem is different from the man. It doesn't mean that it's less effective, it's just different. And I think I can offer that. I love this town. I love the people in it. I'm so grateful that we were able to bring our children here and to raise them here, and that we're able to raise our grandchildren here. I'm impressed with the community in general, and the way you work together to resolve problems. And I want to be a part of that. I want to have a voice in being fiscally responsible, in balancing our budgets, and by being responsible to our future generations in that they will inherit what we've inherited and not lose that, as so many communities today are losing the values that make Cardston unique and continues to make us a place for families. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcia. So Dave, what can the citizens of Cardston do to assist the town council's job and make it easier?
Well, it gets kind of lonely in the council chamber sometimes. We meet 3 times a month, and I can probably count on 10 fingers the number of people that have shown up for our council meetings. We have open houses, and people don't show up. We have meetings where we delay the 3rd reading on bylaws so that the citizens can come and tell us what they think about this new bylaw. Very few people show up. We would like to see more people coming to town council. If you want to know what's happening in town council, you need to be there. We have ways of showing it on TV. There are articles in the newspaper. There are other ways that you can learn what's going on in town council. You can go to the town office anytime and ask to look at the minutes from the last meeting. We really need your input. The only time we really get a lot of people showing up is when it's controversial. And that shouldn't be the way it has to be. We would like to see you, and you're all welcome at any time. We have a large council chamber now. We're not limited to 15 or 20 people. We can put 40 or 50 in there if you come. So we'd really like to see you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Mark, what should council's top priorities be in the first 18 months in office?
Well, I think council's first priority should be affordable housing and innovations to create other diverse housing options to serve a diverse lifestyle and people. People have told me they would love to move here, but they can't afford a decent home. Or if they can afford the home, it means they can't work here. I believe that people who live in Cardston should be able to work in Cardston, live in Cardston, and that means having a job here and a home they can afford.
Thank you, Mark. Dexter, which public facility would you like to see upgraded or improved?
Yes, the project that I would like to see, Cardston's known for its recreational facilities, whether it be beautiful gymnasiums like this one, or outdoor activities, softball, our beautiful soccer complex, but also the Lions Park is one of the best settings in Alberta, I think, for football. And in terms of the Lions Park, I would like to see the town partnership with the school division with the county to develop change rooms and more permanent seating for fans there. We have a lot of people who would like to enjoy those events, and it would be much enhanced by that. Currently, Western School Division is in a partnership with the town of Raymond to provide that very thing. And I think by leveraging partnerships and volunteerism in the community, we could do it without any raise of property tax and have a facility worthy of our athletes and of those who are visiting or for the town citizens to attend those events.
Thank you, Dexter. Moving along there to Bill, your question. One of the points in your brochure says, promote responsible freedom for town residents. Can you please explain what you mean by that statement?
The reason I wrote that question is because I am passionate about freedom. But freedom involves responsibility. And I see when people vote themselves security above freedom, they get neither security nor freedom. What is freedom? I want to read an excerpt from Laura Ingalls Wilder's Little Town on the Prairie. This is American, but the principles apply to everyone. She thought, Americans are free. That means they have to obey their own consciences. No king bosses Pa, he has to boss himself. Why, she thought, when I'm a little older, Pa and Ma will stop telling me what to do, and there isn't anyone else who has the right to give me orders. I will have to make myself be good. Her whole mind seemed to be lighted up by that thought. This is what it means to be free. It means you have to be good. Our Father's God, author of liberty. The laws of nature and nature's God endow you with a right to life and liberty. Then you have to keep the laws of God, for God's law is the only thing that gives you a right to be free. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Alan.
Please take a short break.
You need to take a break?
No.
Sounds good. Do you have time to finish the last town council, guys, or do you want to do it right now? Finish off. All right. We'll finish off the last town council, guys. So, Alan, how do you feel your experience will assist you in fulfilling your role in council?
Well, I consider myself very much a team player. Probably heard of OCO 88, the Olympics. I was actually with them for 4 years. I started off doing the volunteer assessment committee, screening 9,000 applicants and paring it down to about over 1,700. And then they moved me over to form the Calgary Olympic Center. That was in the lower floors of the Calgary Tower. That's an interactive display. So I had to recruit, train, and supervise all the people that were coming in. It was a great tourist attraction. Then when the Olympics came, because I was absolutely fluent in Spanish, I was given the position of NOC host, which is National Olympic Committee host. And I handled all the Spanish-speaking nations that were in the Nordic events in Canmore. And I suffered by living in Canmore for 19 days. It was really, really a joy, but a joy dealing with the people from all nationalities, you know, Spanish-speaking nations, and also royalty who were there, all the VIPs. So I feel that ability to work with people and form teams is a great strength that I could bring to council.
Thank you, Alan. Richard, how does the County of Cardston contribute to the town of Cardston?
I served for years on council, and there was always the question of what the county does for the town of Cardston. It's a misconception that the county doesn't do anything. I visited with the CAO at the county last week. I have a direct hip link to that county. I've been going in and out of that building for 40 years because my wife has been employed there. But this is what the Cardston County does for the town this past year. It gave $40,000 to the recreation program. Consistently gives $5,000 to the library board every year. Works out to about $8 per person. They contributed $125,000 in kind in the building of the new swimming pool. Then they contributed $125,000 cash towards the pool. They contributed on an annual basis about $5,000 to hats, shirts, pins, etc. for the summer games. The county pays 52%, approximately 52% of the seniors' costs in the Chinook Foundation, Temple City Village, etc. The county, and there's also the misconception that we're treating the county water in the fringe areas for nothing. The county supplies the water to our water plant. The county pays for the treatment of that water plant, or of that water, plus the profit, so that the town does not incur have to subsidize that water program. So our county is contributing to our government. I wish the other governments, local governments, we can administer with them and work with them and get that same kind of contribution.
Thank you, Richard. Dennis, how do you intend to help Cardston seniors to express their concerns to town council and give feedback to them from time to time?
I just recently achieved that golden age of 65. I'm now one of you. And I've listened over the years. I've attended various activities. I've always been a friend of the seniors. And I pledge that I will communicate with them. I've talked to many seniors over the last couple of weeks, and some of their concerns are that they don't have enough communication with the town council. And I do want to be able to communicate with them. I would like to have meetings now and then with them as a member of the town council, maybe at the seniors' luncheons once every 6 months or so, and ask you what it is that you would like to have me take back to the town. I think communication is a really important thing. I would like to encourage some innovative things. My wife talked to me about something that I thought would be really fun, and she thought would be really fun. To have some seniors theater workshops. I think it would be really fun if we could have someone write some original plays, productions that would communicate and express seniors' life, the fun times, some of the crazy times and things. Could you imagine how fun that would be at Carriage House Theatre to have a group of seniors putting on their own productions? I think it would be great. They're looking for fun things to do. They're always asking, what can we do? What is there to do in Cardston? Well, I think that those are some of the things that we can do. I'd like to encourage people to use the park system. There's lots of fun things we can do there too. I think we need to get the horseshoe pits going back again, because I think somebody can do that. And I just think that it's important that we make sure that our sidewalks are running properly, so that people's scooters are safe. And I think that if we have more cutouts so that they can get up and down on those streets, they could be a lot safer. I will listen to the seniors, and I will take your concerns back to the council and report back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Mr. Barfus, what kind of experience do you have that qualifies you to be in council?
I was fortunate enough about 25 years ago to be involved in a company called Eagle Marketing. It was headed up by Stephen Arcovey back then. And because I was in their management training program, I was able to spend one-on-one time with him for about 3 weeks. That gave me some of the background that I then used to start my own business. I've been a business owner for about 25 years now. The last 20 years has actually been here in Cardston. And I'm a financial planner, so I come from the background of looking at things by the numbers. My wife will tell you that maybe I see things a little bit too much by the numbers. But that's the background and the experience that I want to bring. I've served on a number of different boards, everything from the Raymond Golf Course. I was the president there for a number of years, to most recently here in Cardston, I've been on the Economic Development Board. So I bring some board experience. I bring a solid foundation in being able to look at what the numbers say to us.
Thanks, Rob. So as requested, we'll take a quick 10-minute break. So stretch around. After 8 minutes, I will give the 2-minute warning. We will start in 10 minutes. So please make sure you're back.